Most everyone knows the IMS bearing should be changed on Porsche Boxster and 911-996 models. However, there are other items often overlooked that need to be replaced on these cars. This even applies to later model Boxster, Cayman, and 911-997 engines with the larger, non-serviceable IMS bearing. Even if you can't change the bearing, you still need to service it by removing the grease seal. The problem we see with many shops is that they are all competing for the same IMS job, and so to attract customers, they offer intermediate shaft bearing replacements at cut-rate prices. The only way this can happen is by cutting corners, or as we say it, going in with blinders on. Believe it or not, we've even seen shops skip changing the oil filter or draining out and refilling the engine with used oil to save money. Do yourself a favor and go with a reputable shop based on their qualifications and thoroughness, not the one that can do the job the cheapest. The IMS pre-qualification procedure, developed by Flat 6 Innovations and used by LN Engineering for IMS retrofit and IMS solution installations, must be followed to qualify any engine before servicing the intermediate shaft bearing. This alone is the single best thing any Porsche owner can do. The last thing you want to do is spend money on replacing your IMS bearing on an engine that is compromised just to have it fail shortly thereafter. Although it comes with a significant cost increase at the time of service, it makes the most financial sense in the long term to replace well-known wear items as well as inspect the engine for any potential faults when servicing the IMS bearing. This is because the process of replacing an IMS bearing is labor-intensive and requires the removal of the transmission and in many cases the engine as well. Here are some key preventative items that should be addressed. 1. Water pump and thermostat. Not only does adding a low-temperature thermostat help keep your engine running cooler, but replacing your water pump will prevent failures that lead to cracked cylinder heads. 2. Air oil separator and vent lines. When an AOS fails, it can cause the engine to hydrolock. Old AOS vent lines become brittle and crack, causing vacuum leaks. Using a manometer is the correct way to determine the health of the AOS. 3. Oil filler tube. Like with the AOS vent lines, an aging oil filler tube ends up cracking and causing vacuum leaks which negatively affect fuel trim values. Many will smoke test their engines, as this is the best way to ensure you don't exhibit vacuum leaks. 4. Rear main seal. Although almost all shops will replace the rear main seal while doing the IMS, some choose to use aftermarket seals. The only RMS that should be used is the genuine Porsche part. 5. Clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel. Even if your clutch has 50% of its life left, it makes sense to replace it while you are in there. Clutch kits will include a new pressure plate, however what most people do not know is that the dual mass flywheel almost always needs to be replaced. There is a deflection test to determine if the existing flywheel is good, but to save time and money it's best to replace the dual mass flywheel at the same time as you do the clutch. 6. VarioCam wear pads on 5-chain engines. This applies to 1997 to 2002 Boxster and 1999 to 2001 996 models. Unless a shop checks camshaft timing deviations, you won't know if the VarioCam wear pads need replacing. Even though your engine will run just fine and not have a check engine light indicating timing is out of spec, these wear pads should be replaced if the camshaft timing deviation is over 4 degrees. 7. Bore scoping. Any M96 or M97 3.4, 3.6, or 3.8 liter engine must be bore scoped, regardless of what you read or hear. Dropping the sump is an important step, as you'd be surprised what shops find in engines, even those that are running with no known problems. While you are in there, this also allows the cylinders to be scoped through the sump to check the bottom of the bores where scoring always starts. It also doesn't hurt to scope the bores through the spark plug hole, but this alone won't definitively rule out bore scoring. 8. Spark plugs and ignition coils. To avoid problems associated with misfires, spark plugs and ignition coil packs should be replaced preventively. On 5-chain engines, the spark plug tubes should be replaced as well. 9. Fuel injectors. Considering the age of these vehicles, many are choosing to replace fuel injectors as part of normal maintenance. As part of the pre-qualification procedure, an ECU interrogation can also identify other problems including fuel trim issues which can be affected by bad injectors, vacuum leaks, and bad sensors, all of which need to be addressed to reduce the chances of your engine suffering from cylinder bore scoring. If everything checks out, we recommend using top-tier premium fuels as well as regular use of a complete fuel system cleaner with PEA or polyethyramine, such as Driven Injector Defender, to best protect your engine. 10. Lifters. Although unlikely, some engines will develop noisy lifters, especially those that have had poor maintenance and therefore need replacement. However, it's not uncommon that shops will misdiagnose bore scoring as bad lifters, and so that is why bore scoping is so critical to know conclusively if the noise is piston slap associated with cylinder bore scoring. 11. Chain tensioners. A chain tensioner can go bad for similar reasons, which will result in excessive chain noise or rattle on cold start, but replacement is easy and relatively inexpensive. 12. Quality engine oils and used oil analysis. Keeping up on maintenance such as oil changes with Driven DT40 every 6 months or 5,000 miles is critical to extend the life of your Porsche Boxster, Cayman, and 911 engine. Combining oil changes with an used oil analysis from Speed Diagnostics can provide further insight into engine health and is highly recommended for all Porsche owners. As with any Porsche Boxster, Cayman, or 911 from 1997 to 2008, you should take servicing the IMS bearings seriously by following the advice in this video. If you don't have the experience and equipment to safely remove a transmission or engine from a Porsche, or lack the proper tools and resources to carry out an IMS bearing installation, we strongly encourage you to hire a reputable Porsche shop certified by LN Engineering to handle this procedure. This will ensure your Porsche is serviced properly and guaranteed to be done correctly.
Call or visit lnengineering.com to learn more.